Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about circle prospecting today. And so I'm going to share my screen. And we'll go to this nice little slideshow that I started. Okay, so circle prospecting, obviously if you don't know what it is, it's just basically you can do it either on the phone, so with geo leads type of thing, or you can do it in person. And I'm going to kind of address a couple different, a couple different scripts around the in-person and the phone. So yeah, circle prospecting. So the keys to success that I've seen is first and foremost, I think the mindset and the motivation. We talk a lot about why and what our why is, and I think that it's tough out there. If you've ever done door-to-door sales, I think a few of you have. Even car sales and stuff like that, you can get beat up out there. Door-to-door is hard, though. I always think about the Mormon missionaries, and they're just like bulletproof, but I've actually had them in, and the reason why I think it doesn't phase them to get the door slammed in their face is because they're super intentional and they truly have a heart of service. So I think that that's key in mindset and motivation. Like, why am I doing this? What do I want to bring to the table? In order to make it effective, I feel like you need to have the right tools. So quality data comes down to like, what kind of neighborhoods am I looking at? Talk a little bit more about that, about turnover. That can be pretty important. Proven effective scripts, and then an organized CRM and campaign touch points, because it's really all about the follow-up when it comes to these things. Obviously you're trying to achieve a few things when you're coming to their door. But the gold is usually in the follow-up. And then confidence and value. So I feel like it's much easier to talk to people when I have something to bring them. So offering an item of value. So am I bringing buyers? Do I have a house that was recently sold or listed? Maybe some market data. Maybe a market snapshot, a bio letter, some reviews, whatever you want to do, whatever kind of campaign you're doing when it comes to circle prospect. You want to offer a tangible handout, so it kind of closes the gap between you and that person, and you're handing them something of value, and then really a confident, informative, smooth delivery of that valuable data. So keys to success. So Ashley and I can attest to the power of the teamwork aspect of it. We're trying to accomplish three things. Number one, we're trying to ask for business now. Secondly, but really important, is we're putting ourselves on the radar. And then thirdly is building authority. So for example, with our really awesome circle prospecting effort last year in that kind of Martha Lake area of Everett, off Cascadian Way. We got an online lead, did a listing appointment, got the listing, right? Then sold them a small condo, sold their house, got the neighbor's listing across the street and next door. The one next door had a rental they wanted to sell and their own house, and then we got each of those people a house as well. So 7 transactions from one listing appointment. So, and we were talking about it the other day, is like there was actually 3 other people that sold their homes that we weren't able to convert. So a lot of times it is about timing, but it's that 1/3 rule. So 1/3 of the people are going to either like you or not like you, and the other third are undecided. So we just didn't get those ones, but we did try to follow up. But I think the teamwork thing is great because you can hold each other accountable. We can go over what worked, what didn't work. We motivate each other with ideas and scripts and role plays. There was a few times where we split up. I don't know, how do you think that went, Ashley? I felt like it was less effective because a part of the thing was we appealed to a wider variety of people with Ashley and myself at the door together. So what do you think about that?
I think we got better response when we were a duo versus single.
Right.
And also we still have another listing coming up on that one. So it's the continuous reach out to that block.
Yeah, right. And that speaks to the kind of the campaigns and the touch points. So everybody that we were able to, get on that, we put them in the CRM. We put them either on the top 50 or other touch points. A couple of them I set up on a property tracker as well on Sierra. So that was kind of cool and kept in touch with them that way. Also, it just keeps it fun. So I just feel like, it's just, first of all, it's just starting it, right? It's just going door to door and being able to just start. And, the accountability and keeping it fun, I think, is a big thing to use teamwork.
Yeah.
So we talked about I was talking about the phone circle prospecting. So this is just an example of something that if you want to reach out to, a certain neighborhood, and so Geo Farm them with like geo leads, you can get a lot of this stuff from title, depending on what title companies you use. You can get basically they'll give you a map, they'll give you as much information as they have. A lot of times, I think we were talking to, was it First American? I think they said for like $3 or something. A lot of these ones, they can give you like 250 names and addresses, and a lot of them have phone numbers attached to them as well. So the emails they weren't so sure about, but they thought they would check on that. So anyway, go to your favorite title company, whoever you use, and see if they can set something up. And RedX is really great for the phone numbers. They're a little bit more accurate most of the time. And so then this is just basically like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, this is Chris Fiamango with John Scott Real Estate. How are you today? That's good. Me too. Just a little small talk. Isn't it gorgeous today? Blah, blah, blah. So, hey, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I listed a house, or whatever you want to say on that, or there was a house that went pending around the corner, and I didn't know if there's anything I could do for you today. And then just literally shut up and be quiet.
Yeah.
If they say yes, follow up and make a deal happen, obviously. If they say no, continue, I got you. Well, if there is an agent in the area that you would work with, is there an agent in the area that you would work with if you were to do something in the future? And is it okay if I stay in touch? If they say yes, great. Is this the right cell phone number? Great. What's a good email address for you? And when they, basically give you the email address, the phone number, the phone call is done, and you just want the opportunity to stay in touch. So also you can do a texting campaign as well. Make sure it's okay to text them. You got to get permission on that, but say, hey, I'll keep in touch. And if you don't mind, is this a good number to text you on? I'll keep in touch that way. And if they say yes, then you can do that as well and put them in your CRM on Sierra and, do touch points. I would use these email addresses for a MailChimp account and touch with them once a week. Some kind of valuable, market information, a blog, whatever the case may be on that. So once a week, if they're, if they gave you their email address, I don't think that that's too overwhelming. Some people say that it should just be like twice a month. But I think that's a little bit too much time. So once a week on that. And that's like kind of a geo leads, circle prospecting phone call. So when you're in person, a couple scripts, and this is the one that Jason and Joe taught me a few years back, the just listed script. So, hey, my name is Chris Fiamango with John Scott Real Estate. You might have saw that I listed a home right down the street from you. I'm inviting all the neighbors to the open house for a special early entry from 12 to 1. And then, you close the gap by, handing them the flyer, the thing of value. So you can check out all the work your neighbor did on the inside. It'd be great to see you. You can also mention, I think Joe says something like, I just wanted to give you a heads up because there might be a little bit more activity there. So don't be alarmed at that. That also brings, I feel, attention to how well your marketing is and how you're driving people, more exposure to the listing. And then, the biggest, so the ask is, you're probably aware that the sale of this home will directly affect the value of your home. So would you like me to keep in touch with how the sale goes? Right. So that's pretty simple. Now, when they say, yeah, go ahead. So this is like kind of psychology thing. Then it becomes like basically a transaction, right? So like, they're like, yes, okay, great. So now I look down and I never look back up, right? I think this is key because it's a psychology thing. I'm just taking down info now. So I look down and like, okay, what's your first name? I write it down. And what's the best email address for you? And I never look back up, right? I'm taking down information. Then I look back up. Thank you so much. We really hope to see you at the open house. I'll keep in touch with you on this one. And, is there, are you or anybody you thinking of selling anytime soon? You could throw that in there if you wanted. I think it's always good to ask, So I just did this with the Meadowdale house that I put on the market. And I didn't even need to ask that. He was like, yeah, we're thinking about selling pretty soon here. So then it just becomes a really, organic conversation. I'd love to get you, value on your home. I can do a comprehensive, valuation for you and send and come back over. How's next week work? Try to book something that day if you can. This one is, I have not used, but I want to use this. I think it sounds good. You're bringing something of value. So just another example. These are just a few things. There's so many things you guys can do with this, but I think this is really cool. So, hey, my name is Chris Fiamango. I'm with John Scott Real Estate. And I'm calling you to, I'm reaching out to you today because I wrote an offer on your neighbor's home. You probably saw how busy it was over the weekend. Well, the reason why I'm contacting you or I'm coming door to door, calling, whatever you want to do, is because we weren't successful. In fact, there was 10 offers and unfortunately we weren't selected. We kind of swung for the fences, but we got beat out. So my buyers absolutely love this neighborhood. Part of what I do is I want to leave no stone unturned. So they really want to live in this neighborhood. So they asked me to go out and talk to homeowners to see if anyone is interested in selling or if they know anybody interested in selling. So crazy question for you. Would you consider selling for the right price, your price, if we give you plenty of time to find your next dream home? And then just be quiet, right? Don't try to fill the void with anything there and see what they say. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is they say, no, we're not interested in selling. Oh, I got you. So, if you can go off to that one, if you were to make a real estate move, do you have an agent that you would use? And if they say no, then great. I'd love to meet new people and I'd love an opportunity to work with you in the future. So you mind if I stay in touch with you? That's it, right? So maybe you can get their email address nonetheless. And maybe they're like, so what would right price be? And then now we know there's a conversation that could be had, right? It's like, well, I definitely love to come around your home, kind of look at it and give you comprehensive, valuation, if that makes sense. And I can bring that back to my buyers and maybe, take some pictures or video. Would you mind? And maybe they invite you in, who knows? I have not used this before, but this comes from a pretty successful circle prospector. And with all the buyers that we have now. I mean, I was talking to another agent on our team and he's got 7 buyers, but there's no inventory out there. So, my kind of question is, what are we doing to get these people into homes? I don't think it's enough for us to just wait for more inventory to come on. We have something of value. And I think that that's where we need to come from. Like, we're not bothering anybody and we're not trying to sell you anything either. We're trying to make them money if it all makes sense for them. So I think that was my biggest hang up, is kind of feeling like I'm bothering people. So that's where the mindset and the motivation comes into play. So some best practices and some tips. So first and foremost, when you're hitting the door, I always like to kind of back away from the door and get a little bit smaller. So I'll turn my body away from the door, so it's like a non-threatening. There was a guy that was super active in the circle prospecting arena at Linwood, and he always had a name tag, but his name tag was flipped upside down, so it was kind of a conversation starter. But if you have a name tag, I would definitely do that. Dress nicely. I mean, you don't have to dress in a suit or anything. That might actually be more off-putting, but nicely, hair done, maybe no hats or beanies or whatever. Smile confidently and generously, and really clear and confident delivery of your intro, the reason you're there. And then closing the gap. So I'm backed away from the door. I'm kind of facing, sideways small. I'm like, hey, they answer the door. I smile big, and then I tell them why they're there. I reach out with the handout, whatever I'm handing them. So I close the gap of the gift, and I come back, I ask for their name, their email, and I do the script or whatever. And like I said, you look down when you're taking their stuff, and never look back up until that's all done, and then thank them sincerely. Appreciate you being open-minded. I love to stay in touch with you. It's really nice to meet you, Mr. Johnson. So 5 circle prospecting tips. So when you're doing a farm, if it's about, farming, or even if you're just doing a just listed, I think we usually, what did we do, 50? And that's a lot of houses. Like, that takes at least 3 or 4 hours, maybe more. And if you have it'll take longer too, and you'll probably have to go back the next day like we did, because we were having so much success. So we were having these long conversations, 20-minute conversations at their door. So we actually had to go back the next day and just make sure, because it's kind of intoxicating. Like, it becomes addictive. You're like, what else are we leaving on the table out there? So you want to go back and hit every single door once you get just a little taste of success for this. So don't make your circle too large. I mean, I think 50 is good to start. I think a fairly average size farm is about 250 houses. But if you did that once a quarter, it'd probably take you 2 or 3 days to do 250 houses, 3 or 4 hours at a clip. But that's 10 hours every quarter, basically. So, and I think that you would get a good return on that. Don't overthink your circle prospecting scripts like I do. It's just really less is more. I mean, so you're coming with value, you're coming with a smooth delivery, and then you're listing. So, I think nowadays more than ever, like, people want human interaction. I think that's part of the reason why we were successful on that one venture, is because they hadn't seen people at their door for a while, and this was coming out of, like the second quarantine or whatever. So people want you there. So get over your fear of door knocking. And if they don't want you, they'll probably very quickly let you know, or they just won't answer the door. So if they answer the door, it's a pretty good sign that they're willing to listen. So if you are, confident, you're like, hey, and you're excited, you have that energy coming through, I think that they're going to feel that. So and then understand this is a long game, right? So we're we're planting the seeds, you know, like the planting the tree, the best time is 20 years ago or now, because it'll eventually turn into something, but it might be a long game. But if you're consistent, you know, and so I always say too, like, mix in your different farming stuff. So you could do mailers with just listed, just sold, right? And then hit their door, right? And so you're mixing different, and then maybe a call too. So you're mixing in different stuff to stay top of mind. And they could be not looking to sell for 30 years or never, right? But maybe there's somebody that's wanting to buy and they're like, hey, I got a real estate agent. He always checks in with me. And it could be as simple as that, right? So you get maybe transactions that you didn't see coming. So it's not just about getting the lead that's in front of you. It's about building your authority in that neighborhood and being, you know, authority in real estate. So and that's what I mean about using the multiple outreach methods to increase your response rate. So mailers, you know, like I said, doing door to door, doing just listeds, all that stuff I just said. So. All right. And so basically, the point of all this is to go above and beyond and stand out from the crowd. I think this is fairly old school, but this is still a relationship business. And I actually don't see a lot of people doing this. I don't know about you guys. Do you hear about people doing door to door still or out there?
Not really. I've seen one, Keller Williams has been doing that recently, but I think it's something people don't think they need to do because they're using COVID as an excuse.
I think only a few agents that do it specifically around their listings, which is the best, you know, circle marketing, obviously, but you can door knock other people's listings. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could door knock, like Joe had a partner that just door knocked Edmonds for 10 years. And I mean, it can be definitely a farming tool as well as a circle marketing tool. But it's definitely something you have to grind through and you have to get used to. It's like being on stage. I mean,
absolutely.
If you don't get over the stage fright, it's going to be difficult. And the only way to do it is to jump right in. And I think that's okay if you feel that way at first, but just like cold calling, if it's something you want to do, you gotta do it. And
I think
the very first thing that you said is mindset and motivation. I think that whole thing is faith. Just, you have to have faith. You're not just doing this as a waste of time. You have to have belief that it's going to pay. And you don't get paid on a punch card. You get paid on a knock card. And so, you know, and you got to have that notebook and take down a little bit of notes, if not just email addresses, which ones answered, which ones didn't. But I think the hardest part is doing it. So like, it's the go out and take action, just take action, and then it'll get easier. And then you get more, but you know, it helps if you get some beginner's luck too. I mean, that's awesome. Like that gets you excited about it. So, you know, you can maybe manufacture a little bit of beginner's luck by just being excited. You know, that you had a listing down the street and you've accomplished something, and there's your resume right down the street. I mean, I lost a listing of one the other day because I didn't have quite as many listings as the other agent. And you know, the person was very blunt and straightforward, and that was it. So I took some things from that, you know, at the same time. But if you're the guy that just sold the house down the street, what are they going to tell you? Like, oh, you didn't sell enough houses in my neighborhood. No, I sold the most recent one. You know, so
exactly.
And I think this is an awesome thing that you put together, Chris. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. And it's a really good point. There's never not a reason. Like, you can always find a reason. Hey, this house around the corner was just listed from you. You know, I talked to, you don't have to say like, I know that it got blah, blah, blah. You don't have to say you weren't the listing agent. In fact, I would encourage you not to. Don't even talk. I'm not the listing agent. I'm the neighborhood expert. I know all about this house. It got 15 offers and went well above list price. Are you at all, I know it's crazy to ask, but are you at all thinking of listing your home, or do you know anybody in this neighborhood? It's crazy, right? So so circle prospecting, it allows you to put yourself out there as the first agent homeowners think of, right? So we have to remember that relationships, rapport, repetition will unlock the science to success. So that's what it is. It's consistency, it's building rapport, it's having real estate conversations. There's a direct formula that creates transactions, and that's whoever has the most real estate conversations. And I feel the person who has the most relationships has the most amount of market share. That's what it comes down to. So people enjoy recommending people they know, love, and trust. And I mean, you're probably on the same boat there. I always like, for instance, Margarito. I love recommending Margarito because I love his work, but if there's somebody that I don't necessarily really trust or even know, or I didn't really like their work, I'm never going to recommend them because I don't want to look bad. So people like to look good for their referrals and their recommendations. So, be that person. So, so keeping in touch and the follow-up is huge. Like you said, take good notes on who answered the door, who do I need to circle back around to, what kind of stuff are they talking about? Because, it is relationships. So if you can remember their dog's name or whatever kind of, stuff that makes it unique to them. I think that's hey, I always talk about when my neighborhood, you probably see me walking my dog, the golden retriever, Crazy Ziggy, so I'm the guy who walks the dog around the neighborhood. Right. And, just wanted to touch base with you, see if how you're doing. Don't know if you know about the market in this neighborhood. It's been crazy. That house down the street went for blah, blah, blah. I had 4 real estate conversations with neighbors, and I'm kicking myself for not doing it earlier because one of them was I wish you would have come to me earlier. I already signed a contract with the Windermere agent to list my home in 3 weeks. I was I kind of wondered, it looked like you were doing some work there. I was actually going to touch base. She's I wish you would have. This agent doesn't work here. She works up north in Bellingham. She just sold me the house. And I was well, she's would you give me a little advice on what you think you should list this for? I was I actually can't, you're under contract, but I'm flattered. Thank you so much. And then it was cool because there was a few other people around. So it was just summer. We were all out talking and stuff. And so then now that group of people up the street, they know I'm a real estate agent. The other thing that's cool is doing community outreach type of thing. I'm not asking for your business at all. I'm actually trying to help needy families over the holidays. So we're collecting food. Your handout is got your business stuff on it, maybe your professional photo, right? And we're doing this for my real estate office. We like to help needy families over the holidays to collect food and blah, blah, blah. We'll be back around on Saturdays. So just leave the bag out here. Here's a paper bag. And that was really cool. Me and Jason did that before COVID in 2019 for the holidays there. And it was just a cool way to, and it was crazy because we were shocked how many people during the day, in the morning, midweek answered the door. I'm what, does nobody work in my neighborhood? It was kind of crazy, but it took us a while to get through, all those people because everybody was answering the door and everybody was talking to us. So it was kind of cool. So once you get all this information, you're going to email them on a schedule. Reach out, like I said, weekly or bi-weekly with valuable content. I say for farms specifically, if you're being the neighborhood expert, visit them on a schedule quarterly. So, maybe by season or for reason, whatever the case may be. I think, Joe's got a couple weeks ago, I think Joe on Friday was talking about different stuff for handouts hey, it's springtime, here's some flower seeds, plant your seeds now and watch these bloom, or here's a I said, hey, I got you covered, and here's a faucet cover for the hose bib outside, right? So, and with my card on it, got you covered, right? What were you going to say, Ashley?
Well, we just ordered those card stocks that have things to do for spring cleaning, and then you can put your card right in it. Right. And then you could attach a packet of seeds to that.
Yeah,
But I was
exactly.
gonna say, like, to touch on it a little bit, even if they don't answer the door, we left something at the door
Yes.
hangers. Because, and it said neighbors open house or whatever. And a lot of them came in that we had never met, came into the open
Yeah.
house because we left that there.
Yeah, and I always say that that's a good point. And when we were doing that, we're like, hey, did you get our door hanger? Are you from the neighborhood? Oh, did you get our door hanger, or did you see our signs? You know, I just wanted to know kind of who was, but it shows also those people saw, wow, these guys go door to door. They're look at this massive open house. I think we had like 40 people through that open house that day. And I mean, before the early entry, it was like I was in the middle and there was a circle of neighbors around me just listening to me about what the market was like. I was like, okay, something's going to come out of this. So I was just talking. There's like 9 neighbors around me, and 2 of which used us for listing. And we're reaching out to another one that we're going to probably list this spring or maybe summer, right? So anyway, it's a long game, but sometimes you get that instant success, and it is addictive. So social proof and track record. So you know, like I said, if you're just kind of doing a farm, like, hey, here's a market snapshot, my bio letter, some reviews from my clients. So here I'm gonna, you know, show you that. And it's just always good because, I mean, use your team. And you know, if it's no matter on your personal experience, you are well, except Andy's not, but Andy's got a great track record and a lot of experience in this business. So use that. But if you don't, like, use the team, right? Use the Madrona Group. Like, we're a top 1% performing team, right? There's power in that. People that, like Andy just said, right? Like, this guy had a few more transactions on the listing side, and, you know, people like that. They like a strong track record. And then target the neighborhoods that are high on turnover. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, it was crazy that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in that small 2-block radius moved that spring. So that's a high turnover neighborhood. And so you can go on the MLS and kind of dissect that information and see, like, who's moving more often in these neighborhoods. Maybe there's feeder neighborhoods, right? So I feel like Linwood's a feeder neighborhood for Edmonds, right? So they're upsizing, right? Or they want to make it to Edmonds, but they bought in Linwood like 5 years ago. They wanted to gain some equity and upsize, right? So maybe take a look at those, dissect that information, kind of try to see what the MLS can provide you for data. And then educate to impress. That's just like how well informed we are, how smooth we are on our delivery, what do we know. Use our market knowledge as power to impress potential buyers and sellers. And, you know, we're huddling every day. So use those conversations that we're talking about and impress your clients with them. And last but not least, be the expert. At the end of the day, potential buyers and sellers care the most about these 3 questions. What's for sale? How much is my home worth? And how's the market doing? So that is it.